Now, in talking of, quote, a tale of unspeakable evil in Honduras, we find that Inez Murillo is a Honduran woman who survived torture in the hands of Honduran government death squads. Her account was corroborated by one of her interrogators in an extraordinary story published in Sunday's New York Times. Says that he was trained in Texas by the CIA. He says he was part of an Army death squad that was responsible for the torture and slaying of about 120 Honduran and other Latin American citizens, and for the slaying of an American priest. Here are your tax dollars at work. Now that's quotes from the Washington Post.
So he says, I wonder what Obama is going to do. If we had any good luck, Honduras would send some people here and help us get our government back.
Now, in talking of, quote, a tale of unspeakable evil in Honduras.
Send some people here. Help us get our government back. What does that imply? Foreign nationals from Honduras to do what? Add to political discourse? Or some sort of call to armed insurrection against the elected government of the United States? Why am I asking this question of Mr. Limbaugh, instead of somebody from Homeland Security asking him, since publicly advocating the overthrow of government of the United States is in fact a federal crime?
At 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, President Obama will deliver remarks and sign the new financial overhaul bill into law. The bill is aimed at preventing another market meltdown and stopping future government bailouts. We're also counting down as Congress prepares to pass a bill to extend unemployment benefits to millions of out-of-work Americans. Yesterday, the Senate broke through a Republican filibuster, paving the way for a vote, and the House will also vote. Florida Democrat Alan Grayson had some harsh words for Republicans who stalled the bill for weeks.
I will say this to Republicans who have blocked this bill now for months and kept food out of the mouths of children. I will say to them now, may God have mercy on your souls.
Congressman Grayson, a member of the Financial Services Committee, joins me now from Capitol Hill. Congressman, that's some pretty tough words for Republicans, that may God have mercy on their souls. A little bit too harsh?
No, they're callous people. They're callous, selfish people, and they prove it time and time again. We're talking about giving money to people who haven't had a job for almost 2 years. Some of these people are living in their cars. Some of them are living on cat food. And yet the Republicans work so hard to block any benefit to them, even though they paid into the unemployment insurance system in every single paycheck. You look at your paycheck, you see there's a word on there called FUTA, F-U-T-A. People pay into this system. It's not welfare, it's insurance. And yet the Republicans try to block these benefits.
Congressman, let me ask you, because the Republican argument has been that they've never been against extending unemployment benefits. They just want to pay for it. So, Congressman, why not that? Why not pay for it?
Because they're fakers. They're against unemployment insurance on the basis of what they call principle. They want us all to basically engage in a war of all against all. It's the same thing on Social Security. It's the same thing on Medicare. They always find some reason to be against it, but the real reason that they're against it is simply that they're cruel.
But, Congressman, why not use the stimulus? Why not use some money in the stimulus to pay for that? I mean, people are concerned about the size of the deficit. Why not start off where everybody's going to start paying for stuff?
Why weren't they concerned about the size of the deficit when the Republicans voted for tax cuts for the rich, which cost 50 times as much? 50 times as much as what we're talking about right here now, unemployment insurance that people have paid for through their paychecks through the years. This is already paid for. People paid for it themselves. They paid for it by having deductions from their paychecks. It's paid for. Why are the Republicans so busy in trying to keep money out of the food, trying to keep money out of the hands of people who are so desperate and so desperately need it? Why weren't they showing any sort of reticence to hand out government money when it turned out that they were handing out money to the rich?
I hear you, Congressman. I mean, you're essentially accusing Republicans of being cold-hearted and that God should have mercy on their souls. That's your words. What has happened up there on Capitol Hill when you even got a conservative media critic offering people $100 to punch you in the nose?
Right. That's how upset they are when you tell the truth about them, when you call them out. The fact is that 38 out of 40 Republicans voted against this, and all but one of the Democrats voted for it. That tells people who is on the side of ordinary people today, and it's not the Republicans.
Congressman Alan Grayson. Of course, he speaks his mind on every issue. And his never-ending fight for unemployed Americans in this country has led to some very serious threats, including a death threat.
The people who will lose their homes if this bill doesn't pass. The people who will be living in their cars if this bill doesn't pass. That's why we need this to pass. And I will say this to Republicans who have blocked this bill now for months and kept food out of the mouths of children. I will say to them now, may God have mercy on your souls.
Right-wing media critic Dan Gaynor, who blogs for Brent Bozell's joke of a website called Newsbusters, tweeted this in response. I'll give $100 to the first representative who punches smarmy idiot Alan Grayson in the nose.
I think they intimidate people. That's what the right wing does. They try to instill fear in the other side. Right.
He's a blogger at Newsbusters, the Media Research Center. That's Brent Bozell's clowns that work for him and his organization.
Yes.
Do you consider this promotion of violence?
I do, but I just want to let him know that I punch back. Yes.
Do you consider this promotion of violence?
I do, but I just want to let him know that I punch back.
Gaynor, Bozell, and other hate merchants on the right can't stand it when guys like Alan Grayson speak out. The Republican Party is used to Democrats, you see, buckling over and, of course, apologizing. Alan Grayson speaks for millions of voiceless Americans, and it scares the hell out of the right because deep down they know that Grayson is correct on the issues. They can't out-debate this guy, and now a death threat has come into his office. A Grayson intern who answered the phone was told, quote, 10 people are going to kill the congressman within 24 hours. This is what it's come to in American politics today. If you want to run for higher office, receiving death threats is just part of the job description. At this hour, authorities don't know who made the threat. The Senate Sergeant of Arms, Terrence Gaynor, says the threats against members of Congress were up 300% in the first few months of this year. Joining us now is former Congressman Alan Grayson. He joins us here tonight.
This is the way they are, but despite their best intentions, I'm still alive.
What's your response to the threat? How serious is it in your opinion?
Oh, God. As serious as anything. As serious as John Kennedy or Robert Kennedy or Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or John Lennon. That's serious.
Do you think that the leadership, if there is any over on the conservative side, at this point has an obligation, not just because of this situation with your office and some of the things that have been said, but the number of threats that have been made this year? Do you think there's maybe room for some leadership and some comments to maybe tell the American people, whoever these folks are, to settle down and it's not worth it? What do you think?
They're responsible for it. Sarah Palin left her home in Sasquatch, Alaska, or wherever she lives, came to my district in Orlando and told her zombie minions a few months ago to take me out, like she was trying to shoot a moose from a helicopter. They're responsible for it. They instigate it. They need to stop, or we need to hold them accountable for it.
So it's just not the right-wing media. You think that, and based on what you just said, the people in a leadership role, those who get visibility, those who can hawk camera time anytime they want it, they're leading these people, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Isn't it obvious? Of course they are. They're instigating hatred and fear. That's what they always do. No, I don't think it has to be that way. And I think that we've lived through enough tragedies to understand it can't be that way. There's 171,000 people who wanted me to be their congressman. Why should one person be able to negate that? We can't allow that to happen. Democracy is based upon the choices of the people, not the choice of one. So, of course, we have to fight this, and we have to punish them at the ballot box for even thinking this way, for trying to turn this country into a dictatorship.
And do you think that this is part of a campaign strategy to instill fear, as you said earlier this week, instill fear in the left, but also to possibly make it a disincentive for Americans to be engaged? What do you think?
It's a disincentive, they think, for me. They think they can make me back down. But I'm not afraid, and I won't back down.
Congressman, great to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ed.